Welcome to the Virtual Mobility Services Engine 10.0 installation. Before we begin, make sure that you meet the following installation requirements: a VMware server and vSphere client, the MSE 10.0 OVA from Cisco.com, a host name, IP address, net mask, gateway, and DNS information for the new virtual machine. Also, the NTP server name or IP address. You will also need an existing map file, the IP address of the wireless LAN controller, and the mail server settings and email address. We start by deploying the OVA that we've previously downloaded from Cisco.com. So go to the File menu, deploy OVF template, select the OVA, click Next. You can disregard the warning message. Name your virtual machine. Select an inventory location if desired. Select your disk provisioning. In this case, we'll choose thin provisioning. Choose the correct network settings. And then make sure that you don't check power on after deployment, because there are a few changes that we need to do. Click on Finish and the OVA will be deployed. This step takes about 3 to 4 minutes. So once the deployment is finished, close and edit the virtual machine settings. You want to make sure that the memory is set to 24 gigabytes. CPUs are set to 8. And that the hard drive is set to 250 gigabytes. Click OK. And then you can start the virtual machine. Go to the console and wait for the VM to boot up. This step should take about 3 to 5 minutes depending on your hardware. Once the login prompt appears, we can log in and begin the installation. To start the installation, we type cmxctl node install. Before starting the installation, it does some basic checks to make sure that we can meet the minimum requirements to install CMX 10.0. Let's put in our host name. We want a static IP, so we say yes. Enter the IP address. The gateway address. And the network mask. The DNS server. And finally, the NTP server IP address or server name. Click OK, continue. Choose a single box installation. Wipe all existing data. Answer yes. Now the setup is complete and the services will start. Now that the installation is complete, we can quickly double check that all services have started by issuing cmxctl status. That will give us a status of all the running processes. Now we need to import the maps. Since we already have an existing map, we'll copy it from an existing server. Now we can import the map. Since we have a file, we'll choose File as the import type. And finally, we need to add the wireless LAN controller. We have a WLC. Now it's time to put the IP address. Choose a default V2C for SNMP version and the private SNMP community string. There you have it. We have completed the install of CMX 10.0. Let's now use the browser to go to the server and log in. One final step is to run through the Setup Assistant to make sure that the system is fully functional. The assistant tells us to verify that we have a controller, and the controller is in an active state, which is shown by the green status over here, and that everything looks good. Then we need to configure the mail server settings. In our case right now, everything's configured correctly, but please make sure you configure them to the correct mail server for your organization. We can save these changes. Click Next. This completes the Setup Assistant. As the assistant shows you, if you ever want to go back to the Setup Assistant, you can go to the top right-hand side under Setup Assistant, and that will bring back the Setup Assistant we've just gone through. Press Enter. And there you have it. In about 10-15 minutes, we've configured a full working virtual MSE server.